Guys ready? In 5, 4.
This is exciting.
3.
We are things I found online. I am your lovely and talented host, Louise Palanker. Radio legends are looking at life through the lens of the internet. Today's episode is specifically dedicated to young people, college students, millennials, the age group of people where you see them, you encounter them, but you really have no idea what they're doing or thinking. We're going to unveil a lot of that mystery and kind of delve in, explore, and talk to young people about how they use the internet. Because how grown-ups use the internet is like, ooh, I got Facebook. Look, here's my cat. And then how you guys use the internet is like a whole different layer, or many, many, many layers, right? Layers that lead to other layers. On the panel, we've got my nephew Jake, by full disclosure, Jake Palanker. It's like, why does he have the same last name? Is that your son? He's my nephew. Yay. Even better, because he goes home elsewhere. Jilly Halperin, Benji Miller, and Madison Miller. Is that her son? No, it's her brother. Even better. He goes home
but
elsewhere.
He doesn't go home elsewhere. That's the problem.
Oh.
No, she has to drive me home today.
Yeah. Maddie is like the grown-up of this group. She's always been the younger sister, but like she was the first one who talked. She's like, yeah, she was like a very mature baby. She'd like look at you sternly, like,
Definitely.
Are you sure you want to do that? So we're delving into the internet, correct, kids? And so Jilly and Jake and Benji and Maddie, they gave me like leads. They were like, you may want to look into this. And I'm like, really? Am I allowed? Like, will they card me? Because I'm too old to go to collegecampusmemes.com. But I got in, and apparently, so do you have the first link for us, John? I do. All right, so Jilly tipped me off to something called College Campus Memes. Is everyone familiar?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yep. So this is your school will have a website dedicated to this. So this was an article that I read about it. So this is where grown-ups go. They don't actually go to where it's happening. They go to some article about it written by other grown-ups. So apparently this is an outlet for college kids.
So this is the tab. This is written by college students, I think, too.
Oh, it was. Okay. All right. These are the best college. So there was a competition, right, Jilly?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We didn't win, but we were up there.
You placed.
I looked.
We placed. Yeah.
We placed, I think, above UCLA.
All right. So explain.
So it matters.
UCLA.
Boom. So explain college campus memes. What is it? How does it work?
So pretty much, I think every college campus, I could be wrong, has a meme page group that you can join. Ours is called USC Memes for Spoiled Preteens. It's excellent name. It's changed a couple times, but that's the name that sticks, which I appreciate. And it's a meme page where you make fun of yourselves as USC students. You make fun of other colleges like UCLA, and you can kind of laugh about what's happening, the culture, our president, certain things that are happening on campus that, USC students might be the only ones who really get, which is why you might be lost. But right, I can explain some things to you.
Well, I want you to I want you to back the bus up a little further.
Okay.
What is a meme?
Oh, okay.
Let's
start there.
Way back. All right.
Way back. Let's back it up. Guys, do you want to help? What's a meme?
You had a link here.
Get your mic closer, Jake.
You had a link on the email to the very first meme, which even has impact bold font, which is the standard meme font from
That's
2008.
incredible.
Remember that, everyone?
Very
I
first
do
meme.
remember.
Yeah. So if we really wanted to start at what is a meme,
right,
you sent out a meme, which
I
think that us kids maybe might scoff at the age or the backwardsness of the meme. And meme culture has gone a very long way from there, but it certainly, to some extent, started there. So if we wanted to...
Which one was it? Which meme?
Oh, man.
You can raise your mic and then even lean back.
The spoiled liberal thing. What was the meme? I don't remember what it was.
Why don't you click on some of these links, John? Maybe is that one?
Yeah, that's the meme I'm talking about.
All right. So this one says... so it's a picture of
with some overlay text on it, making some social commentary or commentary on pretty much anything. All right. Like some sarcasm, some am I explaining it correctly?
Yeah, usually kind of sarcastic, but they've got
sarcasm.
you've got someone making a funny face, and generally if it's a meme, maybe it'll be the same person's face or same screen cap of a person with different captions depending on what you want to say about if it's someone making a weird face, how I felt today when I took my exams, and then going
It feels to me like what memes are is that college kids are enjoying finding and exposing the ironies of adult life. They're like,
Absolutely.
Yeah, pretty good
They're like,
definition.
Yeah.
oh, I get it. Ugh. So, and then exasperated kind of like, because they've just like put it all in one photograph. This is what I'm up against.
Yeah.
Yes, Jake.
So I think an important thing to point out is that meme I brought up as an example wasn't because it was a really good meme. I argue that it would be a pretty not great meme, at least in the current era, just that it
There's
is
some
very
great
emblematic
memes.
of like meme classic school of thought.
All right, but I need you to put it up again, John, so I can read it for people that are not watching the podcast.
Gives
So
you a good idea
basically
what
it's a picture of like a white girl in, I would call them ridiculous dreadlocks. My apologies to those who adhere to this fashion sense. But the meme reads, says you should be more open-minded, means you should think what I think. So the reason that I chose that one, Jake, was I understood it.
Yes.
Hey.
So I think that's an
And-
important thing of classic meme school is that it's pretty easy to get the joke, no matter what it is.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people your age, and that was like, haha, yeah. Because everything, you guys are so politically correct that if I say anything, even like that's remotely a little bit observational, but slightly racist, you guys are.
Find
Everyone's
slightly racist.
Well, slightly racist is sort of like observing that there's a lot of Asian kids at UCLA. Like that's,
That's not
and
wrong.
then Jake is just like, you can't say that out loud. I'm like, but they are from Asian locations. That's like an observation. Okay, go ahead.
I don't want to get this into me making fun of you, but
All right.
I like that your joke. Your joke was all I have to do is be a little racist, and people will say I'm racist. It's like, yeah, just a little.
So you can't even like make some sort of like racial observation without you guys thinking it's racist.
No,
I
you
think-
definitely
yeah.
can.
I think that's getting into a whole nother, realm of what is taken as offense these days in regards to race.
Right,
And
right.
I mean, there's people, with appropriation.
So, panel of white
and-
people, what do you
Right.
think about this current
Exactly.
issue?
Oh no! So
Yeah.
you can't ask us that and then expect us to respond because then we might
Yeah.
be considered racist.
Well, just that we're not the panel to be able to properly describe what it means to go through this
Yes.
country as a person of color.
Exactly.
But yeah,
Just
as,
repeat things we've heard from people of color.
But Dreadlock Girl is.
yeah. And I think
Yes.
a lot of these like memes and stuff like that, they go, they can get into a very racial place because the internet has become a very
The internet is either way over the top, very politically correct, and judgmental of people who are not, or completely horribly racist.
Yes,
Yep.
there's no one moderate
it's very
anymore.
polarized.
Yeah.
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 It's true.
That's just kind of interesting. But I would assume that college kids are on the side of we stand up for everybody, human rights, humans,
Not
all things.
necessarily.
I think it's
No.
mixed. I think it's mixed for sure. I think it depends on what college you go to and which place and what circles you hang out with
Absolutely.
within those
Because
colleges.
we go to the same college.
Exactly.
There was an article on the cover of our college newspaper that said, "Secret hate meme group shut down." And it was like, one, that's a hilarious, weird thing to happen in this year. But like also, there was a weird group of people making racist jokes about professors on a Facebook page or something. And it got shut
Wow.
down.
Is that why those Stanford kids? I heard some kids like got into Stanford or something and then got in trouble for posting some memes, and then were
Yes.
like de-accepted from Stanford. This happened
Memes can be
5 years ago.
dangerous.
Yeah.
I thought it was Harvard.
It might have been Harvard. Yeah, it was a big, really good school.
Yeah, that's what happened. Oh my God, you guys are right. That's so crazy. So it's like almost the idea of finding a subculture who agrees that whatever you're doing is okay makes it more okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's like anything. There's that use for it, and then there's good uses for it as well. Like I find my school memes page, I see things that really resonate with me that I feel I have in common with other people.
Well, yeah, I meant in either direction.
Yeah, of
Like
course.
you,
in other
you know, you
directions,
can be
like anything.
buoyed by the resistance and in having good intentions, or you can be buoyed by other people who think it's okay to make fun of certain people.
Yep.
I think it's also to some extent like a vicious cycle. You mentioned that if you're moderate and you're not trying to be super, I hate all the people of color, and then you say like one little thing, people will jump out at you.
Right.
And that kind of caused online right-wing communities to foster an identity of well, if they're going to keep calling me racist, even when I don't think I'm being racist, I guess I'm going to go be racist online now. And I can't really describe it, but it's I think it's an identity building practice of following this politically correct culture or not. And there's not really people who are, as you said, in the middle anymore. You have to either go all the way into it or all the way out of it.
But I do think that that's really letting yourself get yanked around by all of these forces that are not your true personality, whereas there should be more of an anchor there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's hard to, you can't, like Jake's saying, you can't really be the middle ground because then you won't really be accepted by anyone. You know, if you're in a community, you have to be all the way in. You can't have opinions that go against that community. So that's hard sometimes, I think, in the modern world.
All right, so do you have the second meme, John, or do you have a point?
Well, I actually found one too that
you did? Okay.
I think adults. So I understand what you guys are talking about, and this is very heavy what we're talking about. But in the adult land, there's like these funny memes. And being a musician, we get made fun of a lot. And this particular meme is a good example of something in culture that makes fun of something else in culture. Can you read that, Louise?
I don't always talk to musicians, but when I do, I ask for large fries. Yeah, there's probably tons of, like, especially drummer memes, and John is a drummer, and so am I, so, yeah.
So we're very sensitive
I'm a blonde and a drummer, so I don't even know how I'm able to speak in sentences that make sense in order. But, yeah.
You should get an award for that. I think they do give out awards for that.
But yeah, something I just want to say about memes really quick before we move on is that, like, as an example with that picture, you know, that's the Dos Equis, like,
right.
You know, like Brent, like the
oh yeah, that was a Dos Equis guy.
The text in the picture almost never comes from the same place.
Sure.
So your picture, if you just have like a funny yearbook photo, someone could take that and turn it into a meme. Like, it doesn't.
You could become a meme.
Yeah, you could become. It's kind of like a hazard. You don't want to have like this crazy online presence because someone might memeify you, and that's kind of a scary thing.
Jake,
you know?
There's this crazy thing. So this happens to people. Like, you saw that random lady with dreadlocks, and there's other things where it's like, I'm a child and I'm like holding up a fist. That's a very classic meme of the like whatever baby whatever.
Yeah.
And then you see pictures of people being like, hey, I was that kid. I'm now like 8 years old. And this is me and my family. Do you want to ask us questions? And now they're like weirdly internet famous, but they're not. They're really not. But they're also like so integral.
It's just people making
everyone knows
funny
the
times.
photo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've become a little less outraged. Who has a question? Do you have the second meme that we had as an example? John, I have like post-Christmas mouth. So this one reads, who wants to describe this one? Benchy?
I'll do it, yeah. You
have to go further up, I think.
You want me to describe the visual too?
Yeah, describe it. It's like a Baptist kind of church.
Yeah, it's like a Baptist church-looking guy. Looks like he might be giving a sermon or something. There's someone celebrating with a lot of energy in the background,
and he's in ecstasy.
In ecstasy, I was about to use that word. He's in ecstasy.
The spirit of the Lord.
Yeah, and he goes, "The truth has been spoken." That's the caption.
I think there's above this.
Yeah,
there's
something above it.
This is a reaction image to another thing. Yeah.
So it says professors forcing their students to buy textbooks they wrote is the college equivalent of check out my mixtape.
This is kind of like another section of memes, too, where you take like a meme like this one, like the truth has been spoken. Maybe you could use that as a reply to someone saying something like what was said here.
It's like saying
you
testify.
Can use it in a text conversation. Yeah, it's like testify, and then you can copy and paste the image into your own conversations or posts.
So it's like so people get to college and they're just like, oh, now I see what life is like. Everyone's trying to sell me their stuff. And this was just like in high school. Go ahead, Jake.
I think that it's really important to point out that we looked at like a handful of memes, all of which fall into this weird old school thought about memes.
Yeah.
And at least, I don't know about other young people, but like on meme pages like this, we get stuff like this where it's just like some relevant thing you relate to and then a reaction image that stirs up the emotion that you relate to. But there's also this other weird, like, I don't even know how to describe it, like surrealist attempt at new memes on the internet where memes are starting to try to like
make fun of themselves in a subversive way.
Yeah, we used to start with memes being a cute little internet way of very like accurately conveying an emotion about the real world. I think like you meant a lot of it was earlier people making fun of, now that we figured out how life works, that's so weird. And now they're making fun of how life works, but their memes are now a part of how people live. So now they have to make fun of themselves, and it's like this weird feedback loop.
Yeah, they're making fun of their realizations about life. It's like, oh, I realize this, and what does that make me?
Right, and I think the best way to illustrate the arc is by way of Harambe. So it starts as one emotion, then people get a little bit carried away with that emotion, and then the internet makes fun of that emotion, and then the internet makes fun of people making fun of that emotion.
Yeah, it's like layers and layers and
Okay.
layers.
Does anyone want to describe what I'm talking about?
The Harambe
So
thing?
first, they have to kill a gorilla to save a little boy, right?
Yeah, and there's all this controversy about it.
Have to.
Well,
air
they
quotes.
decided to kill a gorilla to save a little boy. Okay. And then what happens? What does the internet do? Who wants to... I'm assuming that
Freaks
the people
out.
listening to our show are people just like me, but maybe not quite as much on the internet as me. So they're like, what is she talking about? So...
Well, to be completely honest, I know young people who are also really outside the loop on a lot of this kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
So I don't want the people who are, 30 plus to feel like this is just them. Like, I personally was very late to the Harambe party, and I just was like on Tinder, and like some guys had like R.I.P. Harambe or something like that on like their bio, and that was all that was there. And I was like, I am so confused. Why are all of these
What is
people
this?
talking about this gorilla?
And what does this say about you?
Right? I'm like, what's happening right now?
All right,
so someone else explain what Harambe is.
Does someone
that
want to do
whole
the
meme.
actual
Yeah,
news?
okay, I'll explain
of,
it. So what happened was, like Jake said, there was this incident at a zoo. I don't know which zoo, but they had to kill this gorilla because they were concerned that it would that was about to kill this child.
A little boy had fallen into
a
the
little boy had fallen into the pit with the gorilla, right? And so the internet kind of like freaked out about it. It was like, oh my god, how dare they kill this gorilla? Because the controversy is whether or not they needed to kill the gorilla in order to save the little boy, and we're not sure whether or not they did. But everybody basically started like, oh, rest in peace, Harambe, and like crying out the injustice of this, and it became memes everywhere, and just people were talking about it in every sort of circumstance and every conversation they had for a couple weeks there.
And then the internet started making fun of people that were a little bit too emotionally invested in Harambe.
Like now, if you put R.I.P. Harambe on your bio, it would be obviously ironic because it's been so long.
I think it's gone so long that it's not even ironic anymore. It is genuine meta
Now, yeah,
irony.
at this point, you're right. Maybe a few months ago it was ironic. Now it's like just
in the sense that like Harambe the gorilla, whatever he was, died, and then there was an outrage, and like we just said, there was this whole like counter push of like, that's hilarious, we need to fight for this, like this is the hill on which we ironically die. And then after that, now in this current era, the Harambe meme is dead.
okay.
Yeah.
Like memes, I think this is very important to bring out
Yeah.
to like older generation people, is that memes are alive and then they die. And
have
by
a
the
life
time they've
cycle.
made it to this podcast, they've probably died already.
Right.
Anytime a meme has been around long enough that people are talking about it, it's dead already. And the Harambe meme has now died. So now if you say something like "Rip in peace, Harambe," you are not only commenting on the fact that the monkey has died, but that the meme wave people were riding is dead, and you're more commemorating the online solidarity ironic movement, and you're ironically maybe, or not, saying, I still identify with this semi-ironic, semi-genuine expression of anger about a monkey that people don't care about anymore, but I still do.
You could say a lot with
There's
very
a
little.
lot.
Yeah.
There's a
depending on
lot
the time you
there.
say it,
Packed
yeah.
into a small statement,
John, did Dina send you a copy of a surreal, or what are we titling it?
So, I mean, I tried to pick what would be described as like a surreal meme, but I think it's more like a nonsensical.
I'll look it
So,
up.
yeah, look in your
Give me
email.
1 second. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like another good example of that is like once adults start using it, and what is the name of those little creatures with one eye?
huh?
What?
From some
Creatures
Disney
with
movie. No. Like they're like cute and
Oh, troll. Wait, no. They have two eyes.
Furby.
it's a Disney movie where they were
Gremlins? I
like yellow.
don't-
They're yellow
Oh.
and they're like shaped like that.
Minions.
Oh my
yeah.
god!
Some of them have two eyes, so.
So once adults start using it in Facebook
So-
memes, yeah.
Minions. Oh my god. Okay, so minions aren't even a thing anymore where like minions have reached the level of online infamy that simply to post one is upsetting to many
ever
people.
posting them though?
No, you don't even know.
Apparently
so
not.
we're
That's
not.
always upsetting.
We're not posting them anymore. It reached a level where at some point it was funny to post minions because weird adults on Facebook were posting minions. It's now at the point where that's so not funny anymore that if you tried to do that in like any of our currently existing meme pages, it would disappear.
So if I were to say at home, raise your hand if you've ever posted a minion meme, and then raise your hand if you have Beanie Babies in your cubicle at work. It's going to be the same people.
So not
Yeah.
necessarily, because I have posted a Minions meme because someone else posted it, which is Minions, like the Harambe thing, it's hard to ever tell on the internet if you are being sincere or not. And
Yeah,
the
that's very
the
true.
Minion
Very true.
love is so outrageous. I posted a meme to not like an actual meme group, just to like an email chain of people spending things, which was someone who had posted on Facebook a minion, and it says, I don't even want children anymore. I just want a minion. I want to give birth to a minion straight from the womb, a minion. And it's a picture of a minion.
It would be an easier delivery.
And
It
that's
just kind of slide out.
Oh, God.
That's like a joke about how much people love it, but then that itself was unacceptable. Minions have gone a long way on the internet.
It's been a journey.
It's hard to describe.
And there's also this whole, product of that, just like sort of discussing something that my mom actually brought up to me, is that when I showed her a meme a few months ago, she was like, "Oh, did you do this? Like, did you? Did you make the meme? Like, no. There's this whole concept of reposting. So that's taking something that someone else posted that you think is funny and passing it on to another group of
But
viewers.
your parents aren't even on Facebook.
No, well, my
Also-
dad. Oh, my dad is on Facebook.
He is?
Yeah, my
Oh,
daddy, how
man,
many Twitter
my dad
followers
is
does
on
he have now?
Facebook.
He's got like I think like at least 3,000 Twitter
Yeah,
followers.
Well, that's
Our
because
dad
he's
is-
becoming politically
yeah,
active.
I mean, well, yeah, he's trying.
No, but
yeah.
he's also.
There's
I mean,
also a whole thing of tagging people on
Yes.
Facebook in memes.
Oh, hate.
Hate.
I-
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to be
Good for you.
tagged.
I do that all the time. I tag people because I think they would think this is funny. And
Oh,
like, and
you
I relate
tag
to
your
it's
them.
like a
on
way
this.
to direct them to
Yeah.
it. It's
Oh,
like
I see.
because then you get a notification. Oh, you were tagged in something.
There's
And then
also-
applies
Yeah,
to
that's what
somebody
tagging is for.
else.
There's also
You
the
know?
tag yourself meme, which is a meme about tagging people,
Oh.
in
Oh,
which
God.
originally it was, here's like 6 things, and it's like, ooh, are you like, here's the emotions from what's the movie where you're in a brain and the emotions are people? Who cares? There's like, here's seven relatable categories. Tag yourself. But then it became that was stupid and we didn't like it that much, but it was popular, and then it got extracted and became like
Tag somebody else.
so like a meme that's just like the 6 signs of clinical depression, and it says like, tag yourself, I'm sleeping all day, or something like that, where it's like it became weird and extracted from itself, where it took things that were no longer in the format of tag yourself memes,
Okay.
or like it'll be like someone's grocery list. It'll be like, tag yourself, I'm a dozen eggs, or something like that, where it's like been removed from its context, because like meme culture kind of exists by building context for things, but also because it's incredibly subversive, lives off of subverting that context intentionally that we all get the context of, but we now get that you're intentionally using it wrong.
I see.
Okay.
It's
I see.
complicated.
All right, so we're going to move
Wow.
on to
We have
something.
it, Louise.
Oh, we have it. Okay, so this is an example of a. All right,
This is
good.
Jamie, would
Ooh.
you like to describe?
Okay, so it's a who would win meme, and it does the thing. It's hard to describe. There's one which is a Shiba Inu
like a
wolf
husky.
puppy husky mix, which is looking at the camera slyly,
A dog.
and it is the trickster boy BOYE, and it does the thing where all the letters are spaced out in between each other in the aesthetic sense, but without the italicized, and it says master of the bamboozle, and then the alternative is wise boy has seen countless bamboozles since before you, and will and what
Since before you were Lil Pupper.
Yes, this has a lot of stuff going on, and it's really good.
Okay.
I don't know how to.
What's interesting too is I saw something similar to this about animals where it was actually really brilliant. It's a lot of times from the business perspective, I'm a business major. A lot of times companies will try to use memes to promote their product. And this is
As
hold on.
advertisements.
Oftentimes this is done completely wrong because it's seen as tacky by our generation, right? And trying too hard.
Okay.
I saw one the other day that was really good, and it was for flowcharts, and it was like describing the different types of animals. Like there was like the danger tube, and it was like a snake, and it was like showing all the different types of animals, and it turned out to be a ad for like a visual charting program. And I didn't even realize it was for an ad for a company. I thought it was just like a funny meme until it got to the pitch.
So they
And I was
did
like,
well.
wow, this is actually And I remember it because I have rarely seen a company do well by using memes in their
That's sort of
advertising.
like when people try to intentionally make a viral video.
Yes,
Oh.
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. the people who are like Benji's description of a meme may have been a genuinely amazing version of this.
It was
but
hilarious.
there are so many places out there. So Twitter accounts for companies exist. That's weird because they're not people, and there's just some like person who's tweeting, and like sometimes they're great, sometimes they're like normal, sometimes they're trying real hard to be hip with the youths and anyone who's like, I don't know, it's very interesting. And
But isn't there like one of them that's really, really good?
go to the Wendy's Twitter
That's
page.
what it
Wendy's
is.
is fire. Yeah,
Wendy's,
is hilarious.
I don't know what they did, but they
Well,
figured it out.
So they reply to people. So when people like take a picture, like they have like really like lackluster pancakes, and they take a picture and they're
Can you
like,
go to Wendy's.
and they'll be like WTF at Wendy's, like tagging Wendy's in this photo, and then Wendy's will reply like, wow, man, that's sad.
Yeah.
You're just like Chelsea Clinton.
You're like, it's your
replying to her
own
in the
company.
tweets. It's like she's like so spot on.
They'll be like
Yeah.
at Wendy's. Why are my patties square now? That doesn't seem organic. And they're like, Wendy's will literally reply to this one person saying, like, yeah, that's because round patties are so organic, right?
Yeah, like
They hired like a comedian.
No, yeah, they
Right?
fit. So
That's
what I
incredible.
assume is that whoever was doing it accidentally got really good at it, and then they were like, "Oh my God, we're getting internet famous for this weird stuff." And there's like fan art of Wendy's as a Twitter account now. It's weird, but
So
is
funny.
awesome.
I
I'm
didn't know
sure
about
that they put a bunch of money now probably into this because they're one of the few companies around that like they're winning because they know there's no way to win at the game they're playing.
Okay, so if you're Wendy's, all you really need to do, or if you're any company, all you really need to do is go online and see which Twitter accounts are famous because the people tweeting are just really funny and hire them.
Yes,
It
you should
doesn't
hire
have
the
to
people
be
already
this
doing
tricky.
it. Don't try to copy it. You'll do wrong.
Don't copy it. Don't hire marketing majors unless it's Benji.
Yeah, hire
but I
me,
mean,
please.
like there's comedians. There's comedians who get on stage every day and they're funny. Go to a comedy club. Watch people when they get off stage say, "Hey, are you good at social media? Would you like to work at Wendy's?" Like that's how they do it.
Yeah, that's
So
definitely
And
what I'm doing. No lie.
we're gonna push you past fries like on your first day. Like you're gonna be like, "Mom, Dad, I scored a position. I'm employed." Oh, because when you told them you were going to be a comedian, like, there was a day of mourning. But, or a week, depending if you're Jewish.
So are you talking about the replies? I've got the
Yeah.
Twitter account.
Yeah,
up
it's
now.
like when Wendy's replies to like
So
a
I've-
customer comment.
I've got their tweets and replies here.
Okay, here
And
we go.
I think they get
Oh,
famous
yes.
because people screenshot
Can you read
it.
those, John?
It's just funny, a company.
Well,
acting
there's
like
no
a person.
screenshot. I mean, are you talking about a picture that they would submit?
So I'm not sure how you do it because I don't have a Twitter.
Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. Did you see that?
Yeah, see, they just post like they act like a person. It's
Well,
funny.
you just
like, even
can't
some
see
of
what
these-
they're replying to on
Yeah.
this feed.
If you click on any one of those tweets,
Can
it
you
should.
get the thread if you click on the tweet? Not the person, but the tweet
Oh.
itself?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that's that person's page. Just click yeah. Oh,
It'll
there we
scroll
go.
up.
So it's like a picture.
heart-shaped.
Thanks Wendy's for the holiday
Artery
love,
clogger.
and then scroll down, and then I'll say replying to.
like Wendy's actually shot a heart back to this
oh,
person.
oh, they sent a heart. That's okay.
that's
got it.
cute. So they got a heart-shaped fritter or something?
I
And they
think
took
it
a
was
picture of
a
it?
chicken nugget.
Oh, a nugget. Okay, cute.
Pick a random one here. I don't know if there's a picture.
These are all people genuinely like positively interacting with Wendy's.
Yeah.
Usually it's people like insulting Wendy's, and Wendy's will be like, "Please never eat at any of our stores ever
yeah,
again."
Wendy's will like insult them back in
Yeah,
public.
that's
they
It's like,
do.
They'll-
And I mean, I
They'll
think
play the
that's
Twitter game.
Another big part
Wendy's
of
will be
that.
like blocked.
Right. yeah, I think they do. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, but also like that kind of humor. Like, I find something that something like that on the internet. If I show Benji, he'll laugh his ass off.
Yeah.
If I show my mom, she'll be like, "I don't understand.
I
why
don't get
this
it,
is
yeah.
funny."
Where does this begin?
And I think there's just like a difference in what young people and the like older generations find funny. Like that's just genuinely not funny to them, even though it genuinely is funny
no.
to
It would be
us.
funny to your mom if she knew online culture.
It's context, yes, but it's
Yeah.
part of how we
Context,
grew
yeah.
up. Like if she grew up in the time we grew
yeah,
up, it'd be
I
funny
mean,
to her
your mom's
too.
a really funny person. She just doesn't know, like, where's the beginning of the story? Like,
Yeah.
I came in the
Right.
middle.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
get the punchline,
Um,
yeah.
So let's move on to Rate a Professor.
I love Rate My Professor.
Me too. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So this
Saved
was something
my
that I
life
thought that we could do
multiple
because I
times.
heard it existed, but I had never visited it or whatever. No, it looks like just like a social media kind of interface. It's very friendly. And so who wants to describe Rate My Professor? Because did I mention that Jake goes to Mud, Julie goes to USC, Benji goes to USC, and
I'm about
Starting
to
at
start
You did not
Pitzer.
mention
Maddie's
that.
starting at Pitzer, which is one of the
Yeah.
Claremont colleges with Mud at Claremont. So Rate My Professor. Who wants to describe?
I can describe it. So basically what it is, because I use it every semester to pick my classes. So what it is it's a website that has I would say a large majority of is I think it might just be American schools.
Yeah, it appears to be American focused at least.
Yeah, so American universities. And you go on there and you find your university and you can type the name of a professor and it'll come up with student reviews that students have put on there after taking a class with a professor or having some kind of interaction with a professor, and it tells you like the level of difficulty, like whether they give tests, how much homework, if they're strict, if they're not strict, just like qualities about the professor that helps you decide whether or not you want to take their class.
Do you
It's like an app rating.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a rating system.
Do you use your real name?
I think most people don't.
You don't have to.
There's like a username.
You don't have to review teachers in order to get, like, I've never, actually that's not true. I wrote, for my last semester, I wrote a really positive review for one of my teachers because he was the best teacher I've ever had, or professor I've ever had.
That's nice.
And so I wanted to really make sure that people knew that. But I usually go on every semester just to make sure I'm not taking any teachers that are like, do not under any circumstance take, because sometimes there are teachers that you don't want to get stuck with because they are really not good.
Yeah,
and so, but you have to read the reviews, because sometimes, there'll be students who are like, it's just really hard. And then there are other students who will be like, I went to every office hours, will not give an A. Like, will not give an A in this class because they don't want to, or because, it depends on what TA you have. So make sure you have a good TA. Like, it's kind of like talking to a bunch of students in that class, and kind of being able to get a vibe of who you're having before you sit in that class. So you can switch teachers or wait for the next semester if you need to, which is like the best thing ever sometimes.
It's like asking a friend in that class what they thought of that professor.
So click on the link, John. I picked a professor at Rhodey School, Jake's girlfriend, who had really good scores, because I didn't want to use the show to kind of harsh on anybody's teacher, but this is Arthur Glassfield, who teaches at Reed, and you can just scroll down and see what it looks like, and you see the chili pepper. So
that's attractiveness. I'm not gonna lie.
So,
they have a hotness scale too. Yeah, that's one of the factors.
Your teacher for hotness.
Sure. Yeah.
How do people feel about that? I find that incredibly demeaning.
It's a little weird. I'm not gonna lie.
I think that it's like, if we did that about any other profession in the world, it would be very
Uber
drivers.
We would get on Yelp if you could give a rating for hotness.
We would get very uncomfortable if that were anywhere else. And there's something weird about teachers where we feel like they're less, like, with teachers, like, we made this whole review system that like is so you don't get a really bad teacher, but also you can find out if your teacher is hot or not. I think that's like incredibly weird, and that if we were doing this to any other group of people, it would like not be acceptable. But there's something weird about teachers, and we're fine with it for some reason.
I mean, I think it was probably just something that the website developers added to like make it more attractive for students.
Yeah, have you ever heard of the Van
like,
Halen song called "Hot for Teachers"?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. There's this weird cultural thing in our values right
teachers.
Now. That
I'm not for it by any means, but I don't think it's just teachers. Like, I think it's like
but
I don't. I mean,
there's no online dumb. How hot I don't know, like if you ever saw whatever Facebook movie where they were like, oh, rate how hot the girls are at the school or whatever. It's like, that's kind of unacceptable. And if there were like a page for who is the hottest student at your school, we'd be like, no. Get out of here. We can't do that. But it's the professors, and it's the same community, and we're like, it's fine. There's something weird about teachers.
Has anyone ever actually like posted or like added to the hotness rating?
I think every time you rate it, asks you what you think. So, Julie, you did it. Did you?
No,
did it ask
you
to
I've
rate?
done one too. It
doesn't.
It doesn't, because I've done both. I've done one positive and one negative review of different professors. And it never asks you that. You have to specifically go.
You pull in, I think, right?
Yeah.
All right. I was looking on YouTube to see if there were any sort of horror stories where someone had been fired because of some students had ganged up on him or her. But instead, I found a lot of universities are making videos of sort of professors react to their own reviews. So can you click on the YouTube, John?
Yeah, we got it.
GPA
and turn it up,
will go extinct.
It's been a little low in the mix.
Let me tell you about this guy. He's crazy. Literally, he's nuts.
He's a bro. If you're a bro and you know about bros, then you'll like this teacher.
Steve is pretty much your evil, wisecracking, brainy uncle you see once every other year. That's pretty good. I like that.
A little bit clever, given the course is extinction.
This is not an insult. He crazy. Pretty bad English, but no.
She does grade papers somewhat like an English prof. I just want to point out, capital T in the, and English usually has a capital E.
Great guy, but be prepared to work for your grade because he will rip apart your papers faster than a kitten in a wood chipper. I love the imagery.
Monotone, boring, sleep-inducing. Clearly, this student has not taken my class, or they would know that I am none of these things.
He's loud and does accents. He's honestly insane. I have no idea what they're talking about.
I can add that to my list of titles here. PhD, instructor, and now bro.
I'm loud because you have to talk to the back of the room.
Maybe I can do a lecture on that. Extinct GPAs.
All right, that was Rutgers. Good job on your professors reading their ratings. I don't know how that would make me feel. I don't know if I would be like refreshing the page constantly, or if I'd be like never looking at it. I don't think it would be like moderation. If I were a teacher. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because personally, I feel like at the end of the day, just for the reasons that I use it, because it's not a social networking. It's not meant to either boost or hurt the ego of a teacher.
It's not a popularity contest.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. It's not for the benefit of the teacher. It's for the benefit of the students. You know what I mean? Because
it's genuinely so helpful.
Right. Yeah. Because I've
really, really helpful. If teachers don't have a Rate My Professor rating,
it's sus.
You're really at a loss. And I hesitate to even take a class because I have to make sure that I'm. I took a professor this semester who was new to the university and didn't have a Rate My Professor, and I was genuinely almost didn't even take her because I was concerned that I was going to be in a situation where I didn't know what to expect at all. Because sometimes professors it's not you just have to make sure their teaching style lines, because if if you're going to be graded on attendance but you don't want to go to class, or you like to have an attendance grade because just showing up, you want those extra couple points, there are certain things that you can find out even before signing up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like when you sign up for a class, you don't even get the syllabus or anything. Yeah. It's just this kind of I'll commit to this, and you don't even know what's going to happen to you. And it's kind of terrifying when you sign up for a class, because there's some places where they're trying to say hey, keep your syllabus from last semester so people can get it when they're trying to take your class next semester. But when you sign up for a class, you have no idea what you're in for. Mm-hmm. I've gone to classes where if you have no your professor rating, and you show up, you're I don't know what I'm in for. This could be literally the easiest thing ever. It could be a literal nightmare. There's no chance.
They can be so different depending on the professor. I've taken a class for communications, business communications, was super interesting. It taught us how to do resumes, how to do presentations. I think everybody should have to take this class. It was so useful. And then I talked to someone who took the same class with a different professor, and they said, "Oh, it's such a waste of time." And I was so appreciative of that class, and this person so hated it. So yeah, it's super important.
I'm glad you said that, because I was wondering, do the people that do the review, can you find out a little bit about them for exactly the reason you just said? Everybody's going to have a slightly different interpretation depending on their personality.
You can see what grade they got.
You can read their other reviews to see, do they just hate everything?
You can tell from most people when they're writing it if they're just bad students who are I had to work.
You can tell why.
Yeah, because sometimes they'll say "Oh, they assigned so much work," and that's not a reason to hate it.
No, I go to school. I know what's up.
They made me do a test. Excuse me.
All right, we're gonna move on to Finsta, which Julie tipped me off to. So I guess Finsta is a fake Instagram. So if you're just on Instagram and you have a regular account, and you're me, you're just we'll make every post count. But if you're you guys, you'd be all right, there's the account that my parents see in the world, and then there's me talking to my friends, and it's more private, and it doesn't matter how many likes you get or how many follows. It's just we're having a little sub-convo. Yeah. Who wants to comment on Finstas?
Well, I think there are several reasons one might have a Finsta. It might be to share pictures that are inappropriate to put, to a large audience. They might want to just talk to a smaller group of people. So I had friends when they went away to college, and instead of doing a group chat or whatever that kind of looks like, they would do a smaller Instagram that was private to just keep all the friends like updated on like what was happening in their lives, or like funny pictures that they wouldn't want to kind of broadcast to everybody. But I think that, you know, you have like your public Instagram, like those numbers will rise, and all of a sudden you have like people who are following you that you wouldn't want like every picture, but you might have like a funny story or like certain things that, you know, you just don't want everybody knowing, but there are just like different audiences that I think like that's kind of the big takeaway, is you have different like audiences for different things.
Well, do you think that Snapchat has inspired that? Because everyone really loves Instagram, but it's so public, but Snapchat is like really temporary, and that's what was attractive about it. Or what is attractive about it is that this isn't going to be part of my permanent record.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely part of it, but I think it's like I think each kind of part of like social media that is caught on in such a big way serves a different purpose. So like Snapchat, I think, is more of like a one-to-one communication, even though you have like a story. So at least for me, like that's like a one, you know, even though like those pictures might be something that I would share like on a Finsta, that's more of like a one-to-one communication, where like if I'm posting something on a like fake Instagram, that's more of a group communication where I, you know, all those people might comment in a smaller audience, if that makes sense.
Right. So who has one? Show of hands, who has a Finsta?
I don't even have an Insta.
Yeah, I'm with Benj. I'm not.
All right. Maddie?
I mean, I have a friend who has a Finsta.
You had a Finsta for a while, though, at one point.
I've never had a Finsta. Literally never had it. That was just my regular Instagram.
You had one at one point.
So not to be sexist or anything, but is it more of a female thing?
It might be. I don't know.
think so.
Actually, I don't know a lot of guys. I've got a couple girlfriends. Like one of them, not girlfriends, like friends that are girls. One of them has a Finsta, and like actually, I haven't met any guys.
I know several guys who have
Finstas.
Yeah, I know a few too, but
several.
I have a friend. My friend that she actually has two Finstas, and one of them is just literally just updates on her sex life. Like that's just
really,
yeah, really like
weird.
that's all it is.
It's like they're deer penthouses.
What? I don't know what that
Finstas
means.
are like.
That?
What?
What is a deer penthouse?
So like old school. John, please explain. I don't.
You know what? I don't know what you're talking about.
So it's like letters to penthouse that would be like, I guess, some guy's fantasy. I don't even know if they really
What's
happen.
Penthouse, real quick?
It's like a magazine like Playboy.
That was like a physical thing they passed around.
Yeah, with dirty
it was
pictures.
made of paper.
Oh, so it's like
Cool.
like
from
paper.
a tree.
Like
That
you
sounds like
can
a
hold
tree.
it. Yeah, it's not part of your iPad or anything, but it would have pictures.
Does it scroll?
It does not
You
scroll.
have to flip, right? Yeah, I've had a few of these.
There may be a centerfold that you would wind up in a garage somewhere hanging on a wall. But
It has landscape and
yeah, it has landscape
Wow.
and portrait. But like, yeah. So you're saying that people have Finstas to document things that
Might
just-
not be appropriate. Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Or they just might not want to share with
exactly.
everybody.
Yeah.
It's like a limited audience.
Yeah.
And so are Finstas private then? It sounds to me like they would be private
Yeah,
accounts.
so
Yes.
it's just
Oh.
how
A
it's just like how
private account.
Instagram works. So Instagram, you can have a private or a
Right.
public account. Like even just like your regular, even for like most businesses don't have private accounts because they want people to be able to follow without like regulation. But yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, you just make it a private account and then only let follow like that small group of friends, that small audience that you want.
So you have
Yeah.
to be in the know
Exactly. And
or
then,
invited.
exactly. And the other thing about it is that with Snapchat, it's directly it's like you're communicating directly to someone for a purpose. With a Finsta, you're just putting it out there.
You're like broadcasting
You don't
to
have
a
to- yeah.
smaller group.
It's
And
not
the
like
pictures
yeah.
stay up there too, right?
Yeah,
so
they
you
do.
can see the story. It
So-
doesn't
yeah.
disappear.
Exactly.
do people ever use it in social groups to exclude certain people that they don't want knowing about? Well, we're all going over here, but don't tell Maggie. You know?
I don't think so.
I don't
No,
think
that could be
it's, like,
dangerous because someone says something and then they
exclude it.
find out that they're being
But
excluded.
I have seen a screenshot of a Finsta to get other people in trouble, or to be like, you were being made fun of in this or whatever. But that was
So-
like more when we were younger.
So just like sort of keep in mind, it
cattier.
still exists on the internet. So it's still a thing that could be used
Well, yeah.
in ways that could be harmful. So be careful what you post, no matter how private you think it is.
Yeah.
All anyone really needs to do is pick up your phone while it's unlocked, and they would see it. That's how I look at life. Like, I don't know. I just think I just really careful. Like, if somebody texts me something and there's something in there that we had talked about on the phone but isn't meant to be like in writing anywhere, I'll just delete it. I just assume anybody could pick up my phone and see words that are on my phone. Jake?
But also, especially with this, it's not even like it's, oh, I have it on my phone and you have it on your phone. It's on some company's server somewhere.
And it's like on everybody's.
Yeah, like it's incredibly like, even like with the Snapchat thing where we were like, oh, it's more one-to-one. That's still in some server somewhere, but it's like got this semi-promise of like pseudo-anonymous kind of like evaporating stuff.
So
this
you're
is
saying
just
that like
there.
somewhere there's like the creepy guy at Photomat who's looking at all the dirty pictures on the internet?
More likely the NSA, but yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation that we've had quite a few times.
I don't know if we have time for that conversation.
No, we don't.
Let's address flirting through social media, because I don't know if everybody who's single does it.
Do you mean like dating apps like Tinder, Bumble?
Like, yeah, that's what my question
Plenty
is.
of Fish. Is
I
that
guess
still one?
Plenty of Fish.
Isn't that still a thing?
I've never heard of Plenty of Fish.
I remember it being
let's-
advertised
I have no
when I
idea.
was younger.
Let's say Plenty of Fish is just all hookers. Just be careful.
Wow.
No, because we did a show on dating, and I looked at Plenty of Fish, and there's
Oh, God.
nothing there.
Wow. The more
All
you know.
the fish are paid to fish.
Move along. Move along.
Paid to
Let's
swim.
assume we're not talking about Bumble or any of this stuff. We're just talking about Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or whatever you
Well,
guys
that's the
use.
Instagram DMs, right? Isn't
So
that what
yeah,
that
how
is?
do people flirt? If you meet someone socially, how do you get their social media stuff if you want to kind of reach out to them?
Okay, so I actually have a combo of what's from our earlier conversation and now.
Okay.
So there's a meme, and it's sliding into your DMs. That's
great
yeah.
meme.
So that's right. So I've actually had
Wait,
someone.
back up the truck. Okay,
Direct
please decode
messages.
Direct messages. Thank
DM
you.
is direct messages. So on Instagram, you can post pictures, but you can also direct message an account.
It's like inboxing on Facebook.
Exactly.
Yes. Email.
Exactly. Personal Instagram email is what that is. So I've actually had someone ask me in real public space, not online, like, yo, can I have your Instagram to slide into the DMs?
He said that out loud.
Out loud.
And what did you say?
Again,
I was
used
like-
semi-ironically.
He was asking for my Instagram. Oh, so look, now we have a meme up of
Sliding.
a guy surfing,
That's awesome.
sliding into
Sliding
your
into
DMs.
DMs,
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So, I mean,
So if someone actually says that, do you look at him like, did you really say that?
I just sort of laughed at him. I was like, wow, you cannot have my Instagram now. Like, no.
But how could he have asked and it would have worked?
Well, usually people have, they'll just ask for your Instagram. They'll just ask.
And they're like,
yeah,
and
and then
like
they'll
follow
direct,
you. They might like a picture.
Yeah, and
or
that's
two.
like flirting. The number of pictures, how old the pictures are, that's all decoding the flirting. However,
don't
if you
like
go
it.
too far back,
I don't like
never
it at all.
double tap
You-
on an old photo. That's
Ooh,
like
do not do that.
Oh, that's like
killer. You're dead. That's it. You're
Because
done.
they'll see you double tapped.
so
Yep.
really.
Double tap is liking a photo.
Yeah, I know that, but
Right.
I mean, if you like an old photo, that means you're just stalking their
It
profile.
shows
Yeah,
that you were
that means
stalking.
you were
Yeah.
scrolling.
It means you went
through-
back 2-3
You went
years
back
in their
too far.
Instagram
yeah.
history.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
Yep. And they'll know.
So, because I know if I go to Facebook and it says you have 57 new, what's it called? Messages?
Likes.
No, just letting you
Notifications.
You
Do you really?
It just means that my mom went on my Facebook page for the
And
first time
liked
in
a
a
whole
week,
bunch of-
and she just liked everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's usually not like, oh, I have 57 new friends on Facebook. It's like, oh no, it's one person who liked 1,000 things.
Yep.
So you avoid doing that. So you have to be like systematic, like
Well, you should
Like-
really.
Think about what they're
I
seeing.
mean, don't go back more than 3, I would say, and don't like all of them at the same time. 'cause
I was on I invited a girl to my formal one time, and I was like, you look up people on Facebook before you go on dates with them, and I accidentally mentioned to her that I'd seen something on her
Oh,
Facebook
no.
profile pic. Yeah, you can
You
never
do that.
But we all look people up on Facebook.
No, I
don't
have
think-
never
say
done that.
that.
What are you talking
Oh my
about?
We all
can't
pretend
Look at
we
your
don't.
face right now. We all pretend we
Benji,
don't. Thank
it's
you,
a
Jake.
social code that you're
You
supposed to
never
pretend
say
you're
that.
less
Just
into
fell out of
people.
my mouth.
You never say that. You never pretend. If you find something out on their profile that you shouldn't have known without actually talking to them, you never say something like,
Even though we all
"Oh,
do
were
look.
you like I was talking to somebody and they clearly like found my Instagram or something, and they were like, "Oh, like did you just get back from like Hong Kong?" And I was like, I literally just had met you. Like I just had met this person, and like
That's weird.
and I was like, it was when I was rushing sororities, and then I dropped the next day because I was like, this is too creepy for me.
yeah, Jake.
There's a really good song by Garfunkel and Oates. If you don't know who that is, they're a funny, cute comedy duo. Look them up. They're great. And it's a song about how people going on dates in the modern era must all pretend that they haven't Googled each other's names and know everything about each other. And that both of them have, it's a setup where there's a date and both of them have done it, but they have to pretend as though that is not the case.
Yeah. Like
Exactly.
we actually had a show devoted to dating, and one of the tips was like, don't actually Google the person. First have a date, because you might accidentally say something, so your mother's name is Bertha. Like, you're not supposed to know.
Yeah, I genuinely didn't know that people regularly did this. I'm going to be honest right now. This is the first that I'm hearing. I've never done that. I've literally never Googled someone or gone on their Facebook.
So assuming that you meet someone socially that you would like to know online, what's the best approach?
Hi.
No, but
No,
hi. And
that
then,
you should.
Is that creepy?
You
Hi.
meet somebody socially, and then you would like to know them online.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't understand the
Or-
question.
Well, I actually, one time I was like, I wanted to get in contact with a person who I was flirting with, and I said, hey, can I get your number? And she says, no, take my Snapchat first. So like, that's a thing now, that you need to have someone's Snapchat with them and kind of like,
Or
no, this is the
Instagram.
thing, like,
No,
or
it is a
Instagram, that you need to like
thing.
kind of get to know them over social media before you can slide into the DMs and contact them directly.
So were you okay with her saying that?
I was a bit surprised. I never heard someone said that before. I was, because I'm like, okay, I guess this is a thing where you have to like know someone's Snapchat story a little bit first, and I guess verify your interest before you can text them directly.
I had a guy once ask me if it was okay to follow me on Instagram, and I was like, what? Like he was asking me for my number, but then he was like, is it okay if I follow you on Instagram? And I was like, sure. And it was very odd, but then he did slide into my DMs, and then it was like a weird situation.
Then you can block them.
Yeah.
I could
That's
have blocked
when
him, yes.
yeah.
Are we still doing related memes to whatever we are? Because if we keep doing that, the show might last forever. But so there's a meme that exists. There was this really great independently made goofy movie called Kung Fury, and one of
Oh my
And
God,
that's
so
like
good.
Garfunkel and Oates, where it combines two parts of two different things. Okay, go ahead.
It has a character in it whose name is Hacker Man. He's a joke about tropes of tech portrayed in media, where he has to hack the main character backwards in time. The joke is, the meme format is, you do something and then you put the little picture under it that says Hacker Man, and the joke is that you did a thing that pretends to be very technically literate but was not very technically literate. This gets relevant when the header is, when a girl gives you a fake number but you find her real number on Insta or whatever, and then it says Hacker Man. And the joke is not just that, one, you did a thing that was not technologically literate, but also then pretends to be. You also did something that was not socially acceptable, and she clearly did not like you, and the joke is you're trying to take credit for having still found the correct number. So it's a meta joke about poor etiquette when it comes to trying to meet people.
It's a meta joke about completely missing the point, which
Yes.
is she doesn't want to know you.
Exactly. And like the meme for Hacker Man is already about that, but about technology, and
Okay.
it adopted that into simultaneously technology and social interaction.
Okay, so do you think that social media is making people more socially awkward in real life?
No.
No.
I think it adds another layer to real life. I don't think it makes it necessarily more awkward. I just think what I do think is that there's more rules now to keep track of, more things you have to know about
I disagree.
interaction.
You used to have to be like, ask all the family members, male people, and be like, may I have this female person for a date? May
Different rules.
we be back
No, we
before
study
the
this
sunset?
in
Stuff like
communication.
that.
There are different rules. Like, you used to think that like online communication was inferior to like face-to-face communication, and we are learning more and more that it's just different. Like, it's different for different circumstances, for different situations, and like we have different codes. Like, if you text somebody and they take a really long time to respond, then you infer all these different things about that. Like, are they playing games? Like, do they not want to talk to me? Maybe they're trying to flirt. Like, you infer all these different codes that you might be able to infer if you were talking to somebody face to face. So we develop codes, like texting in all caps, or like using emojis. Like, we have all these things that we, are starting to use, like memes or all these,
Yeah, it's like the equivalent of body language when you don't have body language.
Right,
So it's
exactly.
like the
like a
amount of
subtext
time
to
that
the
it takes for someone to respond to a message is like whether or not they're, like there's all, just like Jilly said,
And sometimes
there's all
if you
these
don't want to
little
show that
things.
you're super interested,
Yeah.
like this is what Jilly was saying as playing games. Like, if you want to seem not like super interested or too interested in a person, you have to wait. You have to wait at least 3 hours.
If you actually reveal all of your cards, and here's this is the conundrum of it. If you reveal everything, as the examples that you showed, someone knew that you'd been somewhere. If you reveal how much you like the person will take several steps back and say, weirdo.
Exactly.
So there is a dance to it. Mm-hmm. It's like, how adept is this person at the social dance? Like, I want him to be everything I want him to be, but if he shows me what he's actually thinking too early, then he's a creeper. And so it's this really kind of tricky social dance that indicates, yes, I'm interested and I'm not crazy. So how do you do that correctly with all of these other layers to it, rather than just, here's my calling card and we'll be sitting in the parlor next Saturday?
Yeah. Doesn't it seem like some of it's common sense though? Because like stalkers in the old days would literally stalk outside your apartment.
It seems like common sense if you get social cues. Not everybody gets them in the same, like, it's a talent. It's like playing a musical instrument. Like, not everybody gets social cues. So they'll say something really direct because that's what they were thinking. And they could be awesome. Like, we shouldn't judge each other too quickly. Really.
Yeah, I mean, there's also, you have people who will be having a conversation online and are trying to use the same, like, cues and etiquette that you would in a regular conversation. Like, this happened to me recently in terms of response time. In a conversation where you're talking to someone, it's an almost instant response. You say something, the other person responds. I was messaging online with someone and I went to go have dinner with my family, and when I got back to my phone, there was about a million messages. Hey, where are you? Are you still there? Hey, like, do you hate me? Like, what's going on? Like, where are you? I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. No, that would seem like common sense.
Right. So that's sort of like our version of like what a stalker would be like. That's creepy that you want to communicate with me so much that you can't not for an hour, 2 hours
exhibit any sort of self-control. But whereas Benji said, can I have your number? And she was like, well, here is my preferred means of communication. Like, she should have just been like, here's my number. This guy asked for my number.
Yeah.
I don't change the rules. Like, that's a completely acceptable thing. Either she wants to give you her number or not. She doesn't say, well, if you kind of like follow this pathway, maybe eventually you'll have my number. That I don't know.
It's too personal now to ask for someone's number.
I don't
There's so many
think
ways
so,
to communicate.
I don't want you actually calling me on a telephone device.
I don't think that's true, though.
I don't think that's too personal either, because honestly, if a guy asked me for my number, I would be more likely to give it to him than if a guy asked me for my Snapchat or my Instagram.
I agree.
I think that's
weird.
Yeah,
like, if a guy finds my like Instagram or I don't know how you would find my Snapchat, but if they like find that and they follow or whatever, like, that's one thing. But like, I think like giving a guy my number, I don't like mind doing it.
Me neither. Like, especially if they ask for it, they're like, hey, like, you're cute, let's hang out. Can I have your number? Oh, sure. But it's like, yo.
I guess this girl must have not thought that we were at a level yet where I could do what you guys are saying. Like, maybe she thought, we're not like chill enough yet.
It was almost like she was saying, you can't have my number, but you can watch my show.
I think maybe she just didn't want to give you her number.
Women are mysterious creatures, right?
I don't know.
They're hard to decode sometimes.
Yeah. All right, well, I think we're pretty much out of time for today. We have a lot of topics that we didn't get to. I know that Benji and Maddie are going to Morocco, so they're going to be like on a camel and quite unavailable, but maybe Jake and Jilly, you could come back and we can tease what's going to be on next week's show, which is going to be another holiday telecast or internet cast. We're going to have Jakey is an expert at BitTorrent, which is
I don't even know what that means.
Online,
I don't. I wouldn't like to put that title out there.
Well, Jakey knows about BitTorrent.
There we go.
And it's a thing. And then there's Patreon, which is kind of like a classier version of GoFundMe, where it's like, hey, are you a fan? Rather than I need your money because the house.
You've never heard of Patreon
either.
before?
No, actually,
no one.
I sort of thought it was. Oh no, that's Ethereum. I was thinking of the Bitcoin thing.
Patreon is at the end of every YouTube video you watch. Now they'll be like, hey, remember all the like, comment, subscribe, bell icon nonsense? Now they also put their Patreon up. Huh. It's a way of supporting independent creators.
We're gonna learn so much.
Are they just not making enough off ad revenue?
And we're going to talk about net neutrality, which is a big topic.
Important.
They are not making enough of ad revenue because all the companies. Anyway, it's big.
We'll talk about it later. Okay.
Yeah, so next week there's a lot to talk about, and I just want to thank Jake Palanker, Jilly Halperin, Benji Miller, Maddie Miller, and of course Dean is here, our social media, and my cousin Jim Frankel is here. He's auditing the show this week, and our friend Dan never made it, but I think he was up and down the street somewhere as the show was starting, but maybe he'll be here next week. And then Austin Dosage is in the studio, and John Maddox is in the studio. And I just want to thank everybody for watching and supporting We don't have a Patreon page yet, but you can definitely review the show on iTunes, and that would be super duper helpful for us. Also, like and subscribe on YouTube and on iTunes and on Facebook, and we love you. We will see you next week. Take care.